There we go. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm terrific.
Excellent.
Really good.
So we're going to get straight to the point. You're
Okay.
actually coming to Australia.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, we are in January next year. We're going to be there for a full tour.
So tell me, you've released many albums and you've done so much promo. Did you ever get tired of the question, when are you coming to Australia?
uh, I, no, well, it's. I hate that question when I don't have a good answer for it. And I've never had a good answer for why have you never been to Australia, or why don't you come back? Seeing as we've done one show there in our entire career, but now I feel really good about it. I mean, this is a country that we know so much about. It's very close to. Uh, I like the mindset of Australian people. I like to be there, even though I only were there for a really short time. Uh, it's going to be great to get a full Australian experience. And not just one city, but 5 cities, and
Yeah.
not just one day, but at least a week or maybe 10 days. I don't know exactly how long it is, but
Well, it's true though. Many bands, they can only do like 3 shows here, like on the East Coast. And the fact that you're
mm.
doing 5 shows is a testament to the band's career. So is this going to be a career encompassing sort of trip, or are you going to focus heavily on the new album?
Um, I think it's going to be a little bit of both. We all, of course, are going to focus on the new album, but we have a set list now that we play. That like certain songs are always going to be included in the set list. Uh, like even the recent ones, like Hammer High, for example, or We Make Sweden Rock. Those are the songs that we always play. But I don't know. We haven't really started thinking about the set list for next year yet, because we still have the big fall thing for us over here in Europe is we're going to do an October tour with Powerwolf, so that's where our focus is right now. And then after that, we got a couple of months to come up with something good for next year. But I don't think we're gonna do anything specific. Like, we're not gonna do, oh, these guys have never heard that song, let's play it here. That's it takes too much time to do that. If we did that any everywhere, it would be time consuming for us to do that.
Sure.
But I get this question a lot. You haven't been here for 5 years or whatever they say, and then will you play these songs? But no, I mean, we have it, and that's another thing. We have a set that some songs are going in and out, or are
Yep.
interchangeable, but you also have like a skeleton of songs that we build everything around.
Sure.
And so we're going to try to do something fun, but I don't know exactly what's going to happen, because it's not going to be a completely different set list. That would take us months to rehearse and stuff,
Yeah.
a month to rehearse and stuff, and make sure, prepare it. But what I can guarantee you is a good time. Regardless of any of what songs we play, it's going to be a really good time for everybody in the house. I can guarantee you that.
Awesome. And by the way, congratulations on Avenge the Fallen. Um,
Thank you.
I love the fact that so many people still want to call you power metal when you're just a metal band. And I'm really glad to see that you guys have sort of, in recent interviews, have not that you've shied away from the power metal, but you've said what is it? We're just a metal band. Um, do you think labels can sometimes give people the wrong idea of what a band's all about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they can, or whoever writes the press release can give the wrong idea. But the thing, this with the power metal thing, it's a bit of a sore point for me, because when I formed this band in 1993. We kept on playing for a couple of years, and then Joacim joined the band, and that's when like the real birth of HammerFall happened, in my view. But um, the reasoning for me forming this band was I wanted to have a heavy metal band, because that's the music I love,
Yep.
plain and simple. And back in those days, of course, power metal was a completely different thing. It was US power metal, it was called, and it was bands like Omen or Sabotage or Jack Panzer, that sort of thing, which
Yep.
is very different from what people nowadays call power metal. And also because heavy metal, the label of HammerFall's music for me is always going to be heavy metal, and there's a reason for that, because in the mid-90s, everybody was kind of laughing at us and saying, like, why don't you play music that people want to listen to?
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit about people. I want to play the music that I want to play, you know?
Yeah.
And that just happens to be heavy metal. And because people in the 90s were so anti the melodic heavy metal that I love, they were, like I said, they were laughing at us for doing something ridiculously outdated and childish. A lot of people seem to think, for some weird reason. But so we wore this label, heavy metal. We wore this as a badge of honor. So for me, it's a lot more than just a label of the music. It's a label of us more than anything. And again, power metal didn't really come into prominence until the early 2000s, I would say, when all the Finnish bands or the Italian bands or whatever started to popularize this. And I know HammerFall had a part in making this popular again, but I never saw us as a limited band. I always saw us as a heavy metal band, and heavy metal for me encompasses so much more than this narrow power metal genre. So I believe we can do a lot more than that, and then that is another reason. So you have never, I guarantee you, you've never heard me call HammerFall a power metal band in the entirety of our career.
Well, it's funny that if you think about 1993, grunge was huge. It was at its peak.
Yeah.
So for you guys to come out and even be playing music that wasn't grunge was going to get you labeled. But the fact that you guys bring melody out in a time of grunge, which is drop D and not a lot of melody, you know.
At least no positive melodies. You know, they weren't doing anything that gave you encouragement to live on, really. Because life sucked all the time for them. Well, not for them, but in the songs. Yeah. But the thing is, it was not just grunge, though, because the metal music that was big at that time was the aggressive stuff, the rhythm-based stuff without melodies, like you said. So like, Korn and those types of bands. And I always thought there's something lacking in the music for me, like as a fan, as a listener. Yeah. I always wanted the melodies. And I also didn't like that people always said that life sucks and I'm fucking angry about this. And I wasn't angry. I was happy. I was positive. That's what I wanted people to listen to HammerFall due to music. I want people to listen to the music that I play and that I write, to feel the same way that I felt and still do when I listen to music that I love, which is powerful. I felt empowered, felt like nothing can stop me. I can do whatever I want and fuck everybody else. That is what I want people to feel, because that's what I felt when I listened to Manowar, for example, and Judas Priest and Accept and all those, my favorite bands. Nothing can touch me. And I didn't want to feel angry. I wanted to feel positive to the world. So I think a lot of people need, there's a time to feel sad or to feel angry when you listen to music too, but as a general rule, you need to feel empowered more than anything else, because you can use music as a way to change your life just by listening to it, just by with the feeling you get from listening to it. And if we can achieve that, then we've achieved perfect.
Well, I heard you mention Manowar, so a bit of a connection is you've got Mark from Ross the Boss's band on the album. How did Mark come into contributing?
Well, we met him at the NAMM show, I believe it was. That's a big music fair in LA, and we happened to be recording when that fair was going on, so we went there to hang out with just to check it out. But he was there. Joacim knew him, maybe not personally, but he knew him. They had some contact or something, so they knew each other a little bit. And we were doing a backing vocal session like a week after that or something. So Joacim asked him, like, do you want to come on Saturday and help us sing some backing vocals? I said, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be there. So he was there, and then that was cool. He's a really nice guy, very friendly, very happy to and nice to talk to and everything. So he's a great guy.
He's a really positive dude. You're in LA, so clearly that's when you were recording with Jay Ruston. So Jay has done Corey Taylor, Steel Panther, Anthrax.
Yeah.
How did HammerFall come on his radar, or he come on your radar?
Well, we I don't remember exactly how the his name came up for the first time, where it came from, but he was at the show. We did a show in LA with Halloween in 2023. He was there, and we already knew about him back then. You know, we there had been not just I think his name was floating around as an idea for a producer for the vocals. I think that was what it was, and he happened to be there, or if somebody invited him, I don't know. But he was there, and he started to talk to Joacim a little bit, and afterwards Joacim said, "Well, maybe we should actually consider recording with him, because he seems like a really nice guy. His resume speaks for itself, obviously." And he turned out to be a great choice. It's a really nice guy. Like I said, a producer needs to be like a chameleon a little bit. He needs to be, regardless of what he thinks of the music, obviously, but he needs to be able to make the person he works with perform to the best of his abilities. And Jay is really good at that, among other things, of course. But he did get the best out of Joacim, I think, this time. Joacim, of course, didn't. He knew what he was doing too. I mean, I think it's a great thing about Joacim is he's singing better and better every time we do something, because he's taking care of his voice. And for as long as I've known him, he's done all these vocal exercises, and I've known him for 30 years. So he did it even when we were just doing small shows. He didn't start doing it during the way. He's always done it. And I think that is why his voice is still preserved, you know, even though he's getting, well, he's not old, he's 54, sorry. So he's not really old, but, you know, singers can hit that thing after a while and they just go downhill. Depends on how they use their voice. But I think he performs better than he has ever performed on this album. It's really nice to see that. He's really good.
That's awesome. Now, guitar playing for you, every guitar player has different sounds, different techniques that it's so individual, but I want to ask you directly, are you a fan, say on this album, did you go for something like fractals or just straight amps? What's your preference?
Amps is my preference. Yeah. When we recorded Hammer of Dawn 2 years ago, the Engel Savage Mark II just came out. So we borrowed that for that album from Fredrik Nordström, the producer, and it blew me away. I have to say, I was honestly like, this is an amazing amp. So when we got time to record the new album, I already bought one. I had a Savage Mark II myself by then, because I knew that's what I wanted to use for the record. So what we did with the recording that was my main amp, and we had a JVM 410. Marshall as like a slave to that one somehow. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know really. I'm not into it. I just know, you know, I want, when it sounds good, I know that's when I know I'm done, you know. But Pontus and Fredrik Nordström is really good at cranking the sound, because they both know, I've known them both for a long time. They both know what I'm after and what HammerFall is supposed to sound like, so to speak. And these amps really helped us achieve that. I think this guitar sound that we have here is one of the best guitar sounds that I've had in my whole life, and it says a lot for me. For me, that's a great feeling, because I'm really happy with the guitar sound of this album.
Awesome. Now, doing these interviews, I get to talk to a lot of bands, and I always say they love being in a band, but they hate the travel. You know, it's a lot of travel for a couple of hours on stage. But is there something that you personally don't? It's one thing that you go, boy, if I could change that about being in a band, I would.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You know, the travel is by far the worst, because there's a bunch of waiting. Every time you do something, you get done with that thing in a second, and then there's more waiting. Whatever it is, if you're flying somewhere, you're waiting for the plane to board. Once you're board, you're waiting for the plane to take off. Once it took off, you're waiting for the plane to land. And etc. You know, it never ends. So traveling for me is killing the joy in a little bit, depending on where it is, of course. You know, but we've done so many shows this past couple of years that when we're gone from Thursday to Sunday, or something like that, or Thursday to Saturday, or 2 or 3 days, 3 or 4 days, I mean. And then you have to do it all over again next weekend, and that is taking its toll a little bit. So we had this series of 6 weeks where we were only home a couple of weeks. I mean, sorry, a couple of days in between this summer, and then we had 2.5 weeks of complete downtime, which was absolutely great. But there's no way around it. Traveling sucks when you do it so much and so often. And the thing is, nowadays, ever since the pandemic let up or faded into the background, I guess you could say, the flights, because the flight companies suffered a lot. Of course, nobody was flying or could fly, so they had they were, there's a lot of them that had financial trouble afterwards. But last year when we started flying again, 2022 when we started flying again, there were so many delayed flights and so many problems that we didn't dare to fly in the same day as the festivals anymore, the show. We had to fly the day before, which means you waste a day just not doing, again, waiting on a hotel room and whatever. Then the day of the show, and then the day travel home. So 3 days for 75 minutes on stage or whatever, however long the show was. That's, to me, that is time that I could have spent much more efficiently with my family, because I don't want to be gone from them or doing stuff around the house. There's always something to do, right? So that's my you get this, what kind of super hero would you be if you had what would your talent be, so to speak, or whatever? It's always teleportation. It's been since I was a kid, teleporting, not having to wait to go anywhere, just can think it and I'll be there. That would be a dream for me.
That'd be brilliant. Now back to guitarists. 2 questions. Who's your favorite current guitar player, and who was your favorite growing up? And
it's the same.
Who's that?
Well, if you count take into account the influence that they had on my career and my songwriting and the way I play guitar, there's only one, and that's Wolf Hoffman from Accept.
Sure.
I mean, I had other guitar players that have meant a lot to me, like Tipton and Downing from Priest, for example, meant a lot in the way how you build songs with 2 guitars and stuff like that. And they're really, really important. But if you have to pick one, I'm forced to pick Wolf, because he meant so much to me. Not just the music of Accept, but the way that he composes the solos, that the way he incorporates the melodies into. Because I'm not a shredder, I can never be that. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the talent for it. I can do some things, but not like Pontus is amazing at that. He's really, really, he's like our Ingrid Malmsteen a little bit. I can never, even if I played for every day for the rest of my life, it would never achieve that level. So I've not even bothered trying. But for me, it's more about the solo. The solo for me is not about showing what I can do, but the solo for me is a part of songwriting to enhance that part of the song more than anything else. And Wolf Hoffman does that better than everybody. And so he's absolutely my number one choice for that.
So you led straight into my next question, which was, what is your favorite solo you've ever written, and what do you think the best solo of all time is?
Fucking great question. One of the best solos I've ever written is one that I think about. It's a later one, because all the early solos were just me trying to doing something. That sounded good. Let's there was never any thought behind it. Never any anything. Well, there was thought behind it, but it was more like, it felt like more like luck that this was good. Nowadays I'm a little bit better at planning, and a little bit better at finding the right tone and stuff. I could never do that before. I have a specific tone, which is not to say it's a good thing. It's more like it's very rudimentary, but I still have some kind of tone now. I didn't used to do that very much before, because I didn't even know what it was. I didn't realize, I didn't think in terms of that. But for me, it's the solo in the Twilight Princess. It's a ballad of the Built to Last album. I'm so happy with that, how that solo turned out. Another solo thing I love very much is for Brotherhood. We do this. It's me, Pontus, and we do a dual solo together.
Yeah.
And that whole part is probably my favorite part, solo part at least, to play live.
I love hearing twin guitar solos. I love hearing
Yeah.
it. It's the best.
They're the best.
But like,
They're the best.
what about taking away from your music? What do you think the best guitar solo of all time is?
There's a million of them, but the one that pops into mind right now, you know, the first one is the Randy Rhoads solo from the Blizzard of Oz with Ozzy.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Ozzy fan. I know there's been some fantastic songs on that that he's done, but for me, it's more eras of him that I like. When he had Tommy Aldrich and Randy Rhoads and whoever played the bass.
Bob Daisley.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I mean those, you know, that solo that Randy Rhoads pulled out, but those solos, there's a couple of them in the song. They are just amazing, really amazing. And I have to mention another one too, which is the now we go back to Wolf Hoffman again, but the way he plays the lead guitars on Can't Stand the Night from the Breaker album, I think. It's kind of a ballad thing. I guess you would call it a power ballad now, but you certainly didn't call it a power ballad in
Sure.
81. But that solo, there's also another song where they have small snippets that come back, you know, not the same solo, but parts, the solo part comes back a couple of times. And I just love the way that he does that in that song too.
Awesome. Now, Oscar, before I let you go, you need to give everyone your best sales pitch for this tour. Just straight down the line.
Well, the first, there's one requisite for this. You have to want to have fun. If you don't want to have fun, don't come to the show.
Yeah.
But if you want to have fun and you're the least inclined to like melodic metal music, I can almost guarantee you that you will have the time of your life. If you don't go there thinking it's going to suck, then maybe don't go. But if you go there with an open mind, thinking you want to have a good time, we are going to deliver the greatest heavy metal party that you can imagine. That is just goes for us too. You know, it's because we need you guys. We need the fans to be involved. We need the fans to interact with us on stage. Why else would you go on stage and perform for somebody? Then you can just perform for a camera somewhere, right? And that's what I love about heavy metal music so much, or heavy metal concerts so much, is that it's a give and take. The audience gives, we take, we give you back, and they take it as well. And there's a back and forth like that. And if you come to the show prepared to do that, then we're going to have the time of our lives. I guarantee you that.
Awesome, Oscar. Congrats on the new album. The fans are going to love seeing you here early in 2025. Thank you for your time today for you, tonight for me, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the interview. It was really fun. Take care, man.
See you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.